Well, we've all been here before, haven't we? Drivers of old BMWs. Yeah, I've broken down. But not just broken down, I've broken down in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, horizon to horizon. Absolutely nothing. And being in the middle of nowhere in the UK also means no mobile phone signal. So, what are my choices? Well, I could walk possibly that way or that way and get a mobile phone signal, or have a stab at getting it going again with just the tools I've got in my boot, and I haven't got much, haven't got diagnostics. But I did notice the way that it fizzled out. I'm going to show you a quick trick to get yourself back on the road again. So, welcome to Tim's BMW Repairs and Information. Join me on my journey as we try and fix the car in the middle of nowhere. But the plan was I was going to go to Matt Dennis's. He does custom exhausts at Long Life in Basingstoke. So this is a road from Basingstoke, and I got about here and the engine just cut. I mean, it was on 1 minute and it was off the next. I put my foot back down, we're still going, and then it just went off again. And I looked at the rev gauge and it dropped to 0. So yeah, into neutral. Restart the engine on the key. It's the only way you can restart while you're moving. Unfortunately, this bit of road is all downhill, so it started again and then it stopped again, started again and it stopped again, and it did a few backfires as well, which is never a great sign. Now, the whole reason for going to see Matt Dennis was I had a couple of cats which were blocked up. I drilled some holes in them to let the back pressure out, but I wondered if it was that again, but no, it just seemed too sharp, too on and off. Fortunately, I mean, as I say, we're going downhill here, so into neutral. And let's see if we can coast. Here we go, look, I know this turning here. Just managed to roll into here and stop here to absolute silence. No engine running at all. So here we are, complete silence. Yeah, in Kingsley, which is, well, just about the middle of nowhere, to be honest. Yeah, that was the old main road in front of me. Yep, that's all got cut off when they redid the junction, so I knew this was here, so I was quite happy to pull in here. Now, the way that the engine switched off immediately and then switched back on again, and then did a few misfires and then switched back off again, that's usually a sure sign that it's an electrical problem. Sounds like an electrical problem. Fuel problems, you start getting engine drivability problems. You put your foot down and you get no power, and then it will start pulling back and misfiring and so on. This was completely different. This was as though I'd switched the ignition off. So we're purring along 1 second, next second, absolutely nothing. And just the sound of the wind and the rolling of the tyres, and you think, God, this is Brock said, there's nowhere to pull off. There's gorse trees to the left and the right. And yeah, if I manage to get off, it's sand and I'm going to sink. So I was very glad to just keep on going along there, and yeah, managed to pull in here. So anyway, yeah, camshaft, sounds like a camshaft sensor. It's electrical and it goes on and off, and you can start it, sounds perfect, and then it goes pop, bang, and stops again. Yeah. So I've tried restarting it quite a few times. It'll get going, I think, right, I can get back home at least. But no, as soon as I start turning the car, it just pops and bangs and stops again. Stops dead. Fortunately, with a camshaft sensor, you can either have a fully working one, car runs perfectly as it's designed, or you can have a fully dead one. And the car will still run, but it will use more petrol and have less power. And the way it does it is it uses the crankshaft timing instead of the camshaft to run the injectors and the sparks, and it runs in lost spark mode. That means it sparks every crankshaft revolution instead of every camshaft revolution, and it injects fuel every crankshaft revolution instead of camshaft revolution. So it doesn't run that well, to be perfectly honest. Now, on an E32 you used to get a box spanner, 10mm at one end, 12 at the other. In fact, I used to get a pair of them. I think they're 14 and 16, the other two. E31, no, they decided, no, you don't need a box spanner. Which is a shame, because you need a box spanner to get the nuts off on the engine cover. I do have my normal toolkit in the car. And in that I've got some little screwdrivers suitable for getting the cover off. There we go, flat bladed one, and a little socket set. Perfect, that's all we're going to need. Right, well, it all smells nice and oily and unloved, I'm afraid. I haven't been in this engine bay for a while apart from to do a service. So yeah, I can tell straight away you've got no chance with the little spanner. Yeah, 10mm it is. So you are going to need a little socket set of some sort. Don't lose these, you can't get them from BMW. And they're easy to break as well. Easy to break, easy to lose. Yeah, don't do your back any good, you know, this job. Right, release the cruise control cable. No, yeah, it is a cruise control cable from that little bit there. Lift it up. Little cover off. Careful, these tear as you get them off. Already had one repair on it. There we go. Let's stick that in the boot as well. Not going to need to stick that back on. Right, with the covers out of the way, this is the camshaft sensor connector. It's this one here, right at the front of bank one. So just push the little wire clip in and wiggle it out. That's it, just plonk it down there. Drive to where you need to go, and that's it. That'll get you home every time. Just uses a little bit more petrol. Right, there we go, and just like the day I went to see Matt Dennis, it's raining. Yeah, it's actually starting to pour down now. So yeah, camshaft sensor disconnected. Let's see how we run. Come on, you can do it. Go on. Now, of course, at some point we're going to have to replace the camshaft sensor, so I'll quickly show you how to do that. There's not much to it. We'll disconnect the idle speed control valve, disconnect that. That's the cruise control cable. Disconnect from that. Yeah, maybe I'll just remove this little bit of bellows here. So I'll loosen that one right off, loosen that one right off. Let's do a bit of oil, that one. And we'll pop it off here. There we go. And pop it off here. And at the idle speed control valve. Now, if I remember, there's a little clip under here. Yeah, here it is. Hope you can see that. Yeah, the camera should be able to see that. It's a clip here. Grabs hold of one of the wires. There we go, he's off. Yeah, that's the charcoal canister valve just down here, and that's the wire that goes to it. Righty ho, so with the bellows off between these two parts, that's the camshaft sensor there. It's got a single fitting which looks like a hex. Give it a squash. Yeah, that's a hex. It's a single hex key. They're not usually that tight, and not meant to be tight, meant to be held in with Loctite 222 to stop them rattling loose. But yeah, just unscrew this and it will pop out, and it's got an O-ring, and the new one will have a new O-ring with it, which you need to grease before you put it in. Now, apart from pulling this out, I'm obviously pulling the connector out up here. There we go. There's a bit of knitting, of course, because the wires do go in amongst the places. And yeah, there's a little device here which holds on to a couple of wires. And don't forget to put the clip back on through this cable here, which goes to the charcoal canister valve. Well, everything else looks all okay in there. That's the secondary throttle, by the way. Got quite a powerful spring on it. So that's for the ASC plus T, so that's your traction control. When the ASC plus T decides you've put too much welly on and you're going around a sharp corner, it'll shut down the throttle, and it can do it extremely quickly. Okay, well, so apart from a bit of knitting Yeah, it's very straightforward. Just grease the O-ring before you put the new camshaft sensor in, knit it through, plug it back in again, and off you go again. So let's put it back together. Force Jubilee clips, always best to oil them, then get the worm running properly. It might have got some oil in it, we will find out. Yeah, never force a Jubilee clip, get some oil in it and get it running properly again, otherwise you just tear them apart. There we go, do a tiny bit of oil and he's done up nicely. He's done up all the way round. That's tight, that's tight. Jubilee clip's done up there, it's in the clip. Okay, time to put the engine covers back on. Rightio, there we go then. Yep, yeah, always try disconnecting the camshaft sensor if you've just fizzled out the side of the road. Got nothing to lose. The car still runs without the camshaft sensor connected. If it gets you going, then that's all you need sometimes. Fantastic. Well, keep the comments coming. I love reading the comments and answering them. Yeah, if you've got a complicated one, put it on bimmerforums.co.uk or .com. And yeah, keep the comments coming. Put the thumbs up if it helped you in any way. Keep watching and I'll see you next time. Blimey, look at that. Kites are around, that's not a good sign.